This is the 2023 GMC Sierra 1500 Denali. It has an exterior color of white frost tint coat. It has an atmosphere and brownstone interior. Yes, atmosphere is indeed a color. So we'll get to give you a good close-up look at that when we do our interior tour later in the video. I'm going to show you exactly what you get for a sticker price of $76,975. I borrowed this truck from my friends at Morgan Buick GMC here in Shreveport, Louisiana. If you would like to know more about this exact truck, check out the link down in the description of the video. And if you come in to buy this truck or any other vehicle from Morgan Buick GMC, be sure to tell them that Tom from Vehicle Visionary sent you their way. One thing is for sure, if you are a fan of chrome, you are going to love this truck because you have the chrome grille, the chrome tow hooks down there on the bottom so you can pull out the Fords and the Chevrolets, the Rams, the Toyotas, and the Nissans. Yep, even the Chevrolets need a little help from these GMCs every once in a while. And if you're not familiar with what happened in 2022, the front end was redesigned, the headlights, you can see that the fog lights have changed. They used to be up in this area. Now they're down here, a little bit of a different size as well. You also have the active air curtains here. I think I can give you a good view of the fact that there is indeed daylight coming through there. We'll give you a look from the rear to show you. So what that does, if you're not familiar, is it allows air to flow through the front fender area right here, and that is going to help to reduce drag, improving aerodynamics and giving the best gas mileage possible. At least in theory it does. We're gonna have the chrome mirror caps here. We're also gonna have a lot of lighting on the exterior of the truck, not only right here, but other areas as well. Now, one thing that is a little bit different here, for those of you who maybe don't want the 6.3 liter, well, you do have the optional 5.3 liter V8. Denali logo in chrome down there, as well as your door handles. Now, one thing you'll see here, it's only going to be on the front door, but right here, passive entry. So when you push that button, what's going to happen when you have the remote on your person, that is going to allow you to lock or unlock all four doors. Now, it's only on the front door. And one thing I do want to say here, I've had people ask about this, so I might as well cover it. When the remote is in the vehicle and the doors are locked and you're sitting at a red light or a stop sign or wherever you are, people can't just walk up and push that button and open the interior and try to carjack you. The truck will sense that this remote is in the interior and you don't have to concern yourself with the matter. Yes, people have indeed asked me that question. Blind spot monitoring in the power adjustable and power folding side view mirrors. I'm going to show you that here, along with one other feature. We do have the forward facing camera. And if you notice right here and you've wondered, what is that? Your truck may have this feature and you don't even know what it is. Well, believe it or not, every single time you run the windshield washer fluid, what I'm about to show you takes place. So we're going to get in here and start the truck real quick. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to do what I'm about to do for this to work. I'm going to bring the cameras up just so we can show this in action. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go to the cameras right here. There we go. And we are on, let's see, which camera is that? We are on the forward-facing camera. So here's what's going to happen when we do this. What I'm going to do, let me move the steering wheel a little bit here. This is the button you push to run the windshield washer fluid, but watch what else happens. It runs the camera washer for the front end of the truck. So that is also there. So in case you never knew about that, well, now you do. And yes, these are power folding side view mirrors. The button right there is what you need to push. And there you go. The magic begins and the mirrors fold in. And that's not the only thing that's power here. You also have that power side step right there. And so obviously when you open and or close the doors, well, that's going to do its thing accordingly. But check this out. And normally you would do this with your foot, but I'm just going to show this for the fun of it. When the step is underneath the truck, you don't have to open the doors to push that button right there and have the step come out and become a bed step of sorts, because now I can reach into the front portion of the bed right here and I can get whatever I need to out of there, and then I can hit the button right here. Let's see if I can hit that. Come on, there we go. And we're also going to have the bumper steps right here. Now, being that this is not the Denali Ultimate, you're going to have a lot deeper step right here than you would on the Ultimate. It comes back to about right here or so because of a lot of the technology that's housed within the bumper. We're also going to have the LED taillights, and remember I talked about a lot of the lighting on the exterior of the truck. So you have the cab light up there. You also have the light right here, and then our in-bed LED lighting that is also very helpful. I like the fact that it's pointed or angled towards the front of the bed. That's going to help to light things up when it's dark outside. And as you know from the all-telling badge on the fender right here, this is not the 6.2 liter V8, it's the smaller version of the V8s offered by GMC, the 5.3 liter. Still making plenty of power, 355 horsepower to be exact, 383 pound-feet of torque, mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission. And how about the all-important MPGs? 16 city, 20 highway, 17 combined, and 5.9 gallons of gas for every 100 miles driven. And speaking of gas, how much gas can you put into the gas tank for this truck? 24 gallons. And if I had to pick one thing to be the ultimate multitasker on this truck, it would be the MultiPro Tailgate. Now, you do have the conventional style tailgate here, but it's almost like a transformer of sorts because it can do a lot. So we can start off right here by lowering this top area. You can use that as a table for just about anything you could imagine. You can also flip this area up, which is ultimately a step, but it's also a bed extender. So if you needed to butt something up against that, you could. Now, let's see here if I can close that. Pretty easy to do one-handed. And we'll do one more thing here. In fact, you have two bed extender options here using the same thing, but in different configurations. So we'll close that back up, and then I'm going to show you a couple more things here. Let's see if we can get that to come down. Hit the right button, and that will work. Now, first thing I like to say here, if you need to get a little bit further into the interior of the bed without actually getting into the bed, well, that's one great way to do that because you have more space to get closer in. So you can reach, well, however far your arms will allow you to reach. But this is also a step. I like the fact that you have the graphite or grip tape like on a skateboard material right there. So that helps. You can also put the handle in place, which I have personally found you really don't need that badly. Well, some people might need it or just want it more than others, but it's pretty easy to hop up into the bed. You can see that my hand is not on the step right there or on the handle. That's not a step. I don't think I need to put my foot up there, so that's not a step. And then getting back out just as easy. So depending on who you are, well, that might determine what you want to do. You have the bed liner here, obviously. We took a look at the lighting, but you do have quite a few tie downs, actually. 3 in the front, 3 in the rear for a total of 12 on each side combined. That doesn't mean there's 12 on each side. Let me correct myself on that because sometimes people just don't quite get it in these videos when they watch. So I want to make sure you understand what I'm saying. And one thing I really like here, only available, at least as of this point, on the Chevrolets and these GMCs, the sticker right here. Right here, you can see what you can realistically haul and tow because payload and towing numbers don't necessarily mean, let's say you could tow 9,000 pounds with a truck. Well, that doesn't mean in all situations, depending on how much cargo you have in the bed, how much weight you're carrying in the cab between cargo and passengers, well, that's going to determine what you can tow. So max towing isn't exactly max towing. And we'll take a closer look into the interior. I know we've already looked at the atmosphere and brownstone interior, but let's take a closer look. You're going to have the wood grain material right here with the brushed aluminum. And then how comfortable is that armrest? Well, it's actually pretty soft. We'll actually give it the ultimate armrest test and put my arm on the armrest, right? Large door bins. I mean, those things are huge. I don't know if you could fill all that up if you wanted to. And a lot of options here for storage capacity. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. I don't know if I can or not. Oh, I almost did. Come on, Tom, you're more talented than this. There we go. You could do a lot right there. I know what I would put in there. Well, actually, I don't know that I would put that in there because I'd want it close by in case I was driving through Shreveport, Louisiana and needed to defend myself, for those of you who maybe don't know what I'm talking about. And you can already see what's open over there. I like the storage space here inside of the seat backs. GMC making good use of that. We'll hop inside, grab that grab handle right there. I'm going to close that one. And one thing that's for sure, nobody is going to go thirsty because Well, you actually have bottle holders in both door bins. There are 2 cup holders here on the rear of the center console, and guess what? If that's not enough, if you fold down the armrest, there's 2 more. That's 2, 4, 6, 8 cup holders within the rear seating area alone within this truck. So, what do we have here? As far as connectivity goes, you're going to have a couple of USB options, heated outboard seats, and then the air conditioning vents. And the one thing I'm still waiting to see GMC do, because I know a lot of you are more in favor of the panoramic sunroofs than the conventional size as we have here. So tell me what you think about that. What would you like to see here? And if you're saying to yourself or saying to me, hey Tom, what would you like to see? Personally, I don't want a sunroof, because no matter if you use them or not, eventually the gasket wears out. If you keep your truck long enough, that sunroof's going to start leaking. All right, we'll take a look in through the passenger side door into the front seat. Again, basically the same as what we saw in the rear. Nice large door bins, Denali logo right here. And you're also going to have the Denali logo there on the door sill, the GMC logo on the mats. Power seats for the driver and the passenger. Both are heated and ventilated. Yay for ventilated seats, especially when we're getting into this hot time of the year in Northwest Louisiana. That will be on full blast. And your upper and lower gloveless glove boxes. I rarely, if ever, find any gloves in here, so not going to find any in this case either. We're also going to have the area right here where I like to put my sunglasses, because, well, there is really no sunglass holder in this truck, believe it or not. Not that that's a bad thing, but in case you were wondering, well, now you know. A couple of connectivity options here with USB and then cup holders. We also have the shifter right here. I know a lot of you would rather see the shifter up here. Tell me down in the comments who likes this console style shifter. Some of you may like that more. Now, a quick look across the dashboard just so you can see what's here as far as the overall design goes. We do have a nice large console lid that doubles as an armrest. Again, very comfortable right there, and just an insane amount of space in there. In fact, if you were saying to yourself, well, wait a minute, I thought that you might not have seen one of these trucks for the last couple of years, but you thought that the wireless charging pad would be right here. Well, it's moved as of 2022. It's now right here, so you just kind of drop your phone down in there. No big deal. It's there. And then you have the power outlet right here, more USB connectivity. You can be polite to your passengers and serve them snacks out of this tray if you wanted to, or whatever you want to put in there. And then there's a lot of space down in there within the center console. And I know a lot of people like to know about what we have right here. So I'll say hello with the vanity mirror. Got our lights right there that slowly come on, kind of the touch of elegance with a slowly coming on light, not dimming, but I guess it does that too. But here's a good advantage. Look at how far back this visor goes. It completely blocks the sun out if the sun is coming through the side window on either here on the passenger side or over there on the driver's side, which is exactly where we're headed right now. All right, as we take a look in through the driver's side door, you will find seat memory right here. Honestly, it seems like that should be on both doors, especially at this price point, but it isn't. Maybe not a big deal. I don't know. Tell me what your thoughts are on that. And we didn't look at it, but you can see the nice seat, the exterior colors here, or interior colors, I should say. Let's not get mixed up. The Denali logo right here is stitched into the seat. Again, power, adjustable, heated, and ventilated. We have the control here for driving modes, for controlling all the lights on the vehicle. The head-up display right here, so you know that's here. And check this out. Let's see if we can get the graphics to work for you. There we go. The graphics for this truck are pretty impressive on the infotainment screens. And so at least the first 2 or 3 times you get in, that's probably an attention getter. And we're going to hit the push button start right here. And hopefully my camera is picking up that head-up display. So let's see here. I'm going to see if I can brighten that up just a little bit. I think that may be as bright as it gets. Yeah, it must be. I was kind of hoping that we might be able to give you a little bit better view, but we'll do the best we can with it. Hopefully you can see everything there. Probably not the best background, but it is there. And something that definitely was an issue for the last few years, up until the 2022 model year, people saying that the interior was very antiquated in these trucks. Probably not saying that now. We're going to turn that off turn off the ventilated seat just so that we don't bother the audio here. But you can see what you have here. You're going to have on the steering wheel, which is leather wrapped, you're going to have the shifter paddles. It is also heated only. Would you like to see a ventilated steering wheel? Tell GMC about that down in the comment section. And on the rear of the steering wheel right here, you can control the radio. It's on both sides, so you can control volume and stations and all that good stuff. You can see everything that you have here as far as your adaptive cruise control goes. You can go through all sorts of information there on the dashboard, depending on what you want to see and what you want to know about. It will tell you quite a bit. I'm not going to go into great detail on this, but just to show you a little bit about what's here. Now, obviously, this truck does not have Super Cruise, but if you go with the Denali Ultimate, you can have Super Cruise. And one thing, if you're curious about that, I know in previous years, I think this is the first year, where Super Cruise does not delete the heated steering wheel. It's just that the button for the heated steering wheel moves from right here to down in this area. And so, or maybe it's up here, but it's in this area in general, just so nobody has a fit about that. But that's what you have. So it is available now, and we're going to have everything here with this awesome 13.4 inch screen. It is interactive with Google Assistant. Let's see if we can get her to tell us a joke. Hey Google, tell me a joke.
What's the difference between a guitar and a fish? You can tune a guitar, but you can't tune a fish.
I think they used the wrong instrument at the end of that joke. What do you think? Okay, and I apologize to anybody if I set off your Google devices in your car or your house or whatever the case is. I didn't think about that before I did that. I should have, but you can see what all you have here. We did look at our cameras earlier, but let's go through all of the different camera views. There is the rear camera view. There is the overhead view for the rear, the side view mirror cameras, 360-degree view, all that good stuff. It's all here. I'll tell you what, GMC definitely doing a great job with what they have. And there's another view. I'll tell you what, the views are practically unending. In fact, if you wanted to zoom in, if I had a cameraman or something like that and couldn't find them, they'd probably be asleep back there. And then I could just go on the test drive and, well, they'd wake up quickly, wouldn't they? But I'm not that mean. Hopefully we'll get our camera guy back soon. He's been very busy with work. But here's what we have. Everything here, simple to use. You can pair your phone. You do have Google Maps right here. I'm probably not going to be able to show you all of that. I'm not going to go through all of that right there, but you can go in and handle everything for trailering. And one thing that is interesting here that I know a lot of people like is to have this knob right here to control the volume of the radio, to turn that on and off. Underneath, if you want to push that, you can go home very easily. It's also right here. And then we're going to have our dual zone climate control here in the front seat area. You can see everything that's there. Like I said, you have your heated and your, oops, that's heated again, ventilated right there. So the heated seats, all that good stuff is there. I probably don't have to tell you everything about what is down here. You're smart folks. You already know what's there. But that does leave us with one thing. Well, let me do one more thing here. We do have the controls for the power sunroof and the power sliding rear window. Now, let's get out on the road for a quick test drive. Okay, we're gonna hop out on the road for a quick test drive with this truck. It's a very enjoyable truck to drive, obviously, with all of the different camera angles. Well, it's very easy to get around and know what's going on around you, especially if you're in a tight parking space, if you had some bad drivers that came along and maybe parked a little too close. And for somebody who's maybe not used to driving a truck this size, it's not that these trucks are that terribly big, but if you're not used to it, well, you might kind of be a little nervous. Well, those cameras will definitely alleviate any concerns for the wife or the girlfriend, or even some of you guys out there, I don't know. But I have to say, this truck is very enjoyable to drive. You have an insane amount of technology. And even with the prices being where they are today, there's still a lot here. You've got the nice head-up display. We looked at that earlier. Hopefully you had a good view of that, being that it's not too terribly bright outside today. The sun is not out. We're overcast. That helps us out quite a bit. And one thing I didn't mention earlier is that you do have 3 different driving modes. You have normal, you have off-road, and you also have sport. And for those of you who are curious about the Audi R8 in front of us, I believe that's the very same one I did a video on last year. I'm not sure, but I think it is. Anyway, one way or another, I couldn't help but see that. So what is this truck like to drive? The ride quality is good for a truck, but it's a truck. It's going to have a little bit of a rigid ride to it no matter what, but it's still not that terribly bad. You know, trucks have changed a lot over the years, and I know people have a multitude of varying opinions on what they think about that. They are, at least in this particular case, more of a luxury truck, but you can still use it as a pickup truck. It still has the bed back there. It still has the towing capabilities and all that good stuff. So it's really become a lot more of a multitasker in a multitude of ways compared to what it once was years ago. But I know there's a lot of hardcore folks out there that are going to say it's just supposed to be something you haul things with, you tow things with. But you have a very comfortable interior here, a lot of space, an insane amount of technology that I'm sure many of us never considered something that we were going to have in a truck one day, but here we are. So we're going to make a quick legal U-turn here. I'm going to wait for the traffic to clear just so I can give you a little bit of an idea on the turning radius. I'm going to have to do this just right, but I don't think it's going to be a problem, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's see, we should be able to make this without touching the curbs, and we're going to. It's a truck, so it's not as if it's going to have the turning radius of a Buick Enclave or something like that, but you still get around really, really well. Plenty of horsepower, and yeah, there is a difference in power, obviously, between the 5.3 liter V8 and the 6.2, 355 in the case of what we have under the hood here. If you want more, you can jump to 420 with that 6.2 liter as far as what's under the hood of these trucks. Either way, it definitely gets the job done. Let's just get down the road a little bit here. I'm going to pass this Explorer that's about to turn out onto the road before I hit the pedal, just to be safe. Yeah, it's definitely not a problem. You're not hurting for power or ability to get down the road. Plenty of cabin space. One thing I really like, I didn't talk about this earlier, is the fact that you have so much space for your rear seat passengers back there. And you don't have to worry about that really tall transmission tunnel that once existed in, well, pretty much any vehicle with a back seat, because the floor is pretty much flat back there. It has a small transmission tunnel with a slight rise to it, not much. So overall, a very good truck here. A lot of interior space for driver, passengers, cargo capacity, and a lot of technology. It'll be interesting to see what GMC comes up with in the future when these trucks get a full redesign compared to the refresh that we saw for 2022, which still wasn't too bad. So tell me what you think down in the comments. This is what you get roughly for that sticker price of $76,975. And I didn't cover every single little thing in detail. There's a lot left here that I didn't cover, but we don't need to make a 3-hour or more video, right? Because I don't know, how many of you would actually watch that? I don't know that I would watch that, but it is what it is. So tell me what you think about that. And remember, the link is in the description for this truck if you want to buy it from Morgan Buick GMC. Gotta say a special thanks to my friends at the dealership for loaning me this truck for the day. And a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video and would like to learn about other vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.